it's just, so there are hiccups, and sometimes the hiccups come often. I guarantee within the first year you'd be like, "What the hell am I doing?" You know. Well, I mean, I could sit with you and tell you all the glorious things about it, and not tell you any of the bad things. But I mean, but see, the downside, long hours, and a lot of time away from the family. Which, see, in my case, that's not a bad thing. Yeah, we don't force anybody to, like, and at the beginning of a project, I will go to people. I'll be like, "Look, okay, this is a 6 month project, so I need a commitment from you for 6 months. So I will contract those people out for 6 months. In other words, I wouldn't stick you into a 5 year contract and say, "Hey, look, you have to do this for 5 years." You know, I would do it depending on how long the contract is. I would be like, if you can guarantee this amount of time, this is what you're going to make. But see, when I come at people like that, that sucks. That sucks because if you, well, there are ways out of things like that, but for the most part, not only for me, it's because I turn it over to the government and say, like, okay, I've got guarantees from 25 people that said that they will be in your country for 6 months. So, but then if one slides away, like one gets out, then I gotta quickly find someone for it. It's a pain in the ass. Yeah, yeah, but then all of a sudden you're in it 3 months and you're like, oh, what the hell am I doing? You know, this is not what I thought it would be. You know, it does happen. It does. I've been in situations myself of where I'm like, this is not what I thought it was going to be, and and I'm the one that can just get on a plane and fly away, the easiest, you know. Okay, see ya. Yeah, but I'll introduce you to Ren and Stimpy, and they're the they're the what I call Ren and Stimpy are the two that I have that do a lot of my stuff. You know, they set up a lot of my employment end of it. You know, and manage everything, and we'll get it going. What I'm hoping is that this pandemic ends like this year sometime, because I would have already had you on a plane to some weird exotic location. You know, at least fly out for a couple weeks and meet. You know, and say, you know, and then, well, you have 2 weeks after that. After you get the shot, you have 2 weeks before you're fully immune, supposedly. Um, yeah, because they'll tell you with you've got 2 weeks that you still have to be careful and everything. Because they told me that. That's how I know. I just had my second shot on the 28th, and they said that there's a 2 week gap there that, you know, which I'm still within that 2 weeks. Matter of fact, my 2 weeks is like the 12th or something like that. So I would suck to get it on the 11th, get COVID on the 11th. You're like, what the hell? Like at 11:59 on the 11th. You're like, what the hell? What the hell? Sherry's gonna give me COVID because she's not vaccinated. I thought she was, and she's not. So I should have her in a bubble somewhere. She lives in a bubble anyway. Trust me, she lives in a bubble. Well, yeah, it was a long time, but you know, but now I'm like, let me go back into the world. You know, it's like, okay, bye. Too bad, so sad. You gotta go. What is it? What is it? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And I could have easily just had her jump on a plane to Prague, but wouldn't you rather be in Paris than Prague? But see, Prague has some interesting things that I think, being that you're, since you have the aerospace end of you, that you would really like the clock and everything else. I mean, it's just, Prague has its advantages, but yeah, but there's nothing like Paris. But see, that's weird though, because see, you could jump on a train and go to Boston, and I use Boston as an international hub because it's an international airport. It's close to Europe because just the way the planes curve up around Iceland, Greenland, and all that. It's a shorter flight, but uh, besides that, it's that you could jump on a Norwegian Airlines and fly round trip from Boston to Paris for like $200 US. It was like, I'm like, what the hell? Of course, that's like stewage, like economy class, but you could, for like $1,000 you could get on in like, what is it, like business class or whatever. But yeah, but it's still excuse me, I'm dying over here. Maybe I got the COVID down. Yeah, 2 weeks, it's coming. But so but yeah, and I like it. I'll even go from San Diego to Boston, just get an international flight, you know. But yeah, it's closer, but plus it's also less expensive. The closer you get to like Europe, the cheaper it gets. And when you're shuttling like at times 50 people around the world, it gets expensive. So you have to look for those things. It does, think about it. To move 50 people, salary, housing, food, everything, you're looking at over $1 million a month. Yeah, I mean, you got those expenses. So at times it will seem like I turn into an asshole and be like, man, we've got a deadline. We have to meet this deadline. That's because if we don't meet a deadline, every day you're over a deadline, you have to pay them money back. Yeah, yeah. It's like 5% average. Excuse me. On average, it's like 5%. So you get 5% back, and trust me, when you're talking about large quantities of money, that's a lot of money. And then after 10 days, it's like it goes to like 30%. So I can turn into an asshole at times and be like, man, we seriously have to meet this. Because I mean, well, the thing about it is your people, they get paid no matter what anyway. But the thing about it is when it starts coming into large quantities of money, that comes out of my personal money. So and Christopher likes his money. I was just gonna say, Christopher has a Corvette collection he has to maintain and insure. Well, yeah, the insurance on those could fund a small country. I mean, monthly. But so you know we don't do too much with NASA per se, but Sherry's father. Now Sherry's father's the one you want to talk to. He worked for, was it McDonnell Douglas or something like that? He retired from, and he's got patches and plaques and everything. It's been to the, like, down into outer space and all kinds of things. Yeah, but does it actually go into space? Yeah, that's what his does. Yeah, because with his patches, they're only allowed so many patches per person to go on the flight. but they will literally go into outer space, do their thing, and come back with the patches. And I'm like, hey, that's cool. I got stuff from Paris. You got stuff from from Mars. Yeah, but so and I could, like I said, I could sit there until I'm blue in the face and tell you about all the wonderful things about the exotic people you will meet, all the money you'll make, and how great it is to be in Europe. But then again, I would it would be dishonest to you by saying it sucks. But I mean, and the thing about it is we only require 3-day work weeks. So you work 3 days and paid for 7. So well, yes, of course. If I know that there's something going on, say like I have somebody in Belize that's sick. I mean, I very seldom ever go to Belize, but it was the first country that popped into my head. If you're say like you're in Paris and you need to go to like Belize and something's going on, then you're of course you're compensated extra for that. Yeah, well, we would let you know as far in advance as possible. I wouldn't come to you and say, get on a plane now and go. Unless you're in DC. Like, if you're in the DC area and I need you in Paris, I'll put you on a plane and send you there within the hour. As fast as you can get the Dulles or I don't think Reagan flies international anymore, do they? Yeah, so as fast as you can get the Dulles, that would be how fast you could get out of there. And sometimes there would be cars available. Like we would say, "I'm sending a car for you. I gotta have you now." So, well, it can be, but then again, other times you can be like, "What the hell am I doing?" Especially if you get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're like, "What the fuck?" But see, most likely it wouldn't be a call from me. It would be a call from one of my lackeys. It would be like, you're like, oh, you're like, oh, I'm in sunny California and you're in the rain of London. Or I'm in Las Vegas and you're in Antarctica. uh, well, we tend to only work with the ones that can pay the bills. So we wouldn't go somewhere like Antarctica because I just wouldn't pay the bills. We've been doing a lot with Norway lately. Don't ask, I don't know why, but Norway has a lot of stuff coming up, and everything's always coming up in Europe. I mean, Switzerland. God, I've got videos of just hours and hours of driving through the Swiss Alps and everything. And I should do a YouTube channel, but I'd be afraid I would record something that I'm not supposed to be recording. Yeah. Well, we don't deal too much with the CIA. The FBI, yes. FBI and Homeland Security. Oh my gosh. Homeland Security all the time. It's like, look, people, don't you know how to do your job? Why do you have to call us? And one of the guys told me, he goes, shut up, you're getting paid for it. I was like, great. He was like some surfer dude. He's like, shut up, you're being paid for it. It's like, hey, you're not? See, I should come back to the United States for a little while. Not. That was short lived. Well, I will be back this summer. I haven't. I'm going to do that teardrop camper. Remember we talked about that? I'm. I am going to do that and then hook it up to this minivan we have and drive it around for a little bit.